A lot of my channel, I've focused looking into these ideas surrounding the possibility of instant petrification, because we have petrification in the mainstream narrative, which takes hundreds of millions of years, and it's this slow infiltration of the minerals and things that are surrounding wood or different creatures or whatever, and they're working their way in slowly over, these mind-boggling amounts of time. Whether you're talking about volcanic ash, high mineral content waters will also create petrification in a short amount of time. I've mentioned zillions of times Mother Shipton's cave in the UK. People go and they hang things from ropes, and the water drips down the rope, and then it drips around the object, and then it encases the object in mineral, and then eventually that works its way in. There's a lake called Lake Natron. I can't remember where it is. I should know that, but it's got very highly caustic, acidic waters with very large mineral content. Creatures fall in and they don't get out because they die, and then they petrify. So it can happen with mineral content waters. It can happen with volcanic ash.
Sort of like Utah, right? Is that what you're saying? Sort of like the Salt Lake Lydian?
Yeah, like really high content mineral waters will encase things and then eventually petrify them. And then you've got this idea of petrification through electricity or plasma. And there's a channel called Thunderbolts Project that they look a lot into an electric universe model. And there's a video by one of their members named Mungo Jup called Instant Fossilization. And he talked about different creatures that are found petrified in the process of eating another creature. These concretions that have like crabs, and the crabs are in a position that tells you that they were
something
alive.
instantly.
Yeah, it was a very quick thing. And then he talks about an example in Canada where high tension wires went down and they laid across a row of tree stumps that they cut down trees by the side of the road, and the wires were laying with the current flowing through them. They didn't short out, and so the current was going for hours. And when they examined the stumps later, the stumps had turned to stone, and not just the stump, but the entire root structure of the tree underneath the ground had turned to stone. And this is with high tension wires in a matter of hours. There's a video I've shown. It's on my channel. It's like a short little 3-minute video. I think it's called Instant Petrification. And there's a guy with a big channel that does all kinds of different science experiments. And one of the experiments that he did was creating rubies in a microwave. And what he did is he's got two different powders that are chemical compounds. I can't remember the names of them. And he mixes these powders together, and then he puts them in a crucible, which in this case was basically like a thick votive candle, like glass that's half an inch thick. And he mixes the powders in there. I think he put in a little bit of steel wool also, so that the current could go through the steel wool and permeate the powder. But in a microwave, and a microwave has what's known as a magnetron, so they're pumping out a lot of power. And basically he's got this votive with the powders, and then he's got a ceramic lid on top that can vibrate so that the plasma from the microwave can work its way in and interact with these materials. And in the space of 10 seconds, he's creating rubies. In 10 seconds. Now, ruby, if you think of the hardness scale, diamond being the hardest, they tell us, like I learned in school, it was 1 million pounds of pressure for 1 million years creates a diamond.
Yeah.
And they're big numbers. They're big
in a short amount of time, right?
So
that's the hardest on the Mohs scale, and ruby is the second hardest. So this guy, in the space of 10 seconds, converts a couple of powders into a stone that's the second hardest stone that we know of. So to me, that's 100% evidence that rapid petrification through plasma is just a fact. It's not a theory. And then the question is, how big were the plasma storms? And if we're inside of a dome, and you think of one of those Tesla balls, you know,
Right.
you know, you know, and if you know, a God-sized storm hit, you know, what could that petrify? Probably a whole heck of a lot in a very short amount of time. So.